Hey there, I'm Julie Broad of Revenue.com and another fantastic real estate investing video tip for you. Usually we talk about buying houses. We talk about where to buy, how to know if you've got a good deal, raising money. But today I want to talk about the other side. What happens, or how do you know, when it's time to sell? So, complicated question really, because there's a lot of factors that are going to go into you determining when it's time to sell. But it's one of those things where when you buy it, you might think, I'm going to hold it for 5 years. But that doesn't always work out quite that way. So what's a good indicator it's time to sell? Well, first of all, one indicator it's time to sell is perhaps if maybe you didn't do a deal that actually moves you closer to your ideal typical day. Maybe you were just chasing numbers and you bought a property with good numbers, but it stresses you out. You're always dealing with tenant problems, and maybe it's a rougher neighborhood, so there's maintenance issues, maybe even crime. Might be time to sell just so you can get your energy and time back in order to focus on other things that will move you closer to creating that ideal typical day. Listen, sometimes your lessons are going to be learned by admitting that it's not working out and just moving on from it, and maybe taking a little bit of a financial hit, maybe not getting the returns you were hoping for. But sometimes that's when it is really time to sell, and we certainly have sold a property or two for those reasons. And if you've read my book, More Than Cash Flow, you know one of the properties we maybe not so lovingly call crack house was one of those properties that fits that bill beautifully. Another reason that you might want to sell, and this was one where we sold, it's because you have made a good return, and looking forward, you're going to have to put more money into the property for upkeep, maintenance, renovation, and in the foreseeable future, you're not going to get a good return on that investment. So just as a really fast example, we bought a duplex in 2001. I think we paid $167,000 for it. In 2008, I think, I'm trying to remember the years here, we were inside of it doing some renovations to just make it look better for tenants, changing flooring, changing countertops, just some basic kind of lipstick type renovation. But as we were there doing that work, we started to look around and we could see some significant issues that were going to need addressing in the next 2 to 5 years. We also knew at that point that our property had more than doubled in value, and it was very, very unlikely to gain much more in value in the next 5 to 8 years. So we'd be putting in a lot more money and getting virtually no return for that further investment. So we put it on the market and we sold it for more than double what we paid for it. And right now, today, 2014, I'm pretty sure we would not sell it for much more than what we sold it for in 2008. So solid decision, because in the meantime, we certainly would have been putting money into it. Now it did cash flow and rent rates have gone up. So there is that other side of it. And if a property like that was moving us closer and closer to our ideal typical day, maybe we would have kept it. But it was going to take probably $10,000 to $20,000, if not more, in the next few years in work just to keep it at the same condition it was in that day. So that's another reason. A third reason is it's time to move on. You can see things coming in your market and you know your investment will be better off either in your pocket or moved into a different market or a different type of investment vehicle. There are cycles in the real estate market. For Canadians, check out Secrets of the Canadian Real Estate Cycle, great book. For all investors, read books by Kieran Trask, The Housing Bubble, for example, to understand the real estate cycle. But there are times in the cycle when it makes sense to exit and sit on the sidelines for a while, or exit and put your money somewhere else. And if you understand the cycle, you'll be able to look at it and see. All right? Of course, all of this means you have a plan and you know what you want your money to be doing for you. You know what your ideal typical day is that you're working towards. Because it's really, really hard to make any of these decisions if you don't know that piece. Right? If you have questions, you can post them right here on YouTube if that's where you're watching. Send me a tweet on Twitter, or subscribe to our fantastic real estate investing video tips newsletter and just hit reply. Hope to see you there. And of course, see you next time. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. It makes me so happy. It really does. I do a dance. All right, thanks. See you next time. I don't actually dance. I'm kind of a bad dancer.